Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. I think I figured out the trick. Instead of putting my hood up and down so that my neck can actually stay warm and my ears don't get cold and alternate, just put a hat on. Now you might be wondering, why on earth did I not do that before? Well, that would actually be because I actually did have, a hat and gloves around that I used semi-regularly, but I kept forgetting to bring them out of my rehearsal bag. And it just so happens that today of all days, I'm going directly to rehearsal from work because they want to start promptly at 6:30. So, gotta make sure that I'm there in plenty of time to put on stage makeup and all that. So I have no idea when I'm going to upload this, but it most likely be sometime very late at night for a number of reasons. One, because I won't be home before that because things have overrun significantly, as anyone who has waited for the last 2 or 3 streams to start can testify. Actually, I think the Kesseru one was on time, but that was by pure luck, to be honest, more than anything else. Yeah, Kesseru Review Episode 4, Happenstance. New name title, there you go. Recommendation for Yukiso. No, I'm kidding, don't do that. Yeah, it's Episode 3, Tempest, that it was we were talking about. But I don't want to talk about too much this week, partly because I don't have time, but also because I completely forgot. Sorry, there was a man who was wiping away, like I think it was defrosting his pain whilst driving, which, oh my. I was about to be like, is he signaling to me? No, he's just cleaning up his own space. Sometimes needs must, I suppose, which is also a theme for what happened this week at work. But again, I'm not here to talk about that right now. I'll go over more details about that next week, I think. Again, partly due to time, but also because since I got the theme with us last week was requests, apparently. So I got a request for a particular topic to cover in Walking Wednesday. I completely forgot to discuss the actual thing that happened last week that I really should have mentioned, and that was another quiz. So yeah, another quiz-themed episode today, more or less. The details aren't as fresh in my mind as they were before, and I guess there's less to report on this time, considering that last time being the Christmas themed one, it was actually way more significant. They could have done a Three Kings theme actually, because I'm pretty sure it was on Three Kings Day that they did it. But there you go. Was not to be. I was just lamenting the fact that I didn't get the chance to go to Spain this year to see the Cabalgata like last year. But actually, to be completely honest, I'm very glad that I stayed for the quiz. Mostly because if I hadn't, we would have been down another member, because once again my cousin was unable to make it. So we were down to 5. And this time we thought things were going to be, going to be somewhat difficult. Or at least we got the impression that, it was more challenging than normal. Whether or not that's true or not is up for debate. It just felt that way, because it was more like a return to routine, and also because there was a lot more, scattered discussion and, inputting a few different things, particularly on the Dingbat team, which of course I'm always a part of. But there was actually one that we had before, so that was probably a mistake on their part. So they get a lot of them from a website or several different websites and combine them, so no one can look up one example. They just kind of put them in different places. But yeah, they happened to already use this one. I forgot what it even was actually. They just recognized it was like, oh, I've seen this one before. That's this thing. But yeah, when I say there's a lot more discussion going on, it's because everyone was a bit more confused about, you know, different aspects of either dingbats or questions. Some of them were also kind of were very interesting. The topics this week were quite were interesting too, because one of them was currency, or no, the theme was money. Currency was part of it, and it's interesting because like the first two questions, or it was like, or maybe like the second two questions, like 2 and 3, I don't remember exactly, but you know, one of them was you know, what day was the euro first introduced, or what year was the first euro introduced? Just tell me the year, you don't need the exact date. And the answer being 2002. And another one was, you know, when did the UK go convert to a decimal system for currency? And for that one, we needed the exact date, which was some date in 1971. Now, I understand completely that I am not the main demographic of the quiz, as will be apparent in a future example in a different that I'm going to discuss. But dare I suggest that the dates that people are most likely to remember, whether or not they were alive at the time or not, they're more likely to remember something that happened in 2002 than they are in 1971. I would have thought. We got both those right, by the way, mostly thanks to my aunt. But again, there was a, you know, discussion like, oh, was it, you know, 73 or 71 or blah blah. It recontextualized the joke in Morecambe and Wise's most famous comedy routine, from 1971, where they actually, you know, they got the conductor of the London Symphony Orchestra to come in, and you know, and they wanted them to conduct their version of Grieg's Piano Concerto. But they did say that, you know, they did claim it was the original version at first, and then Eric Morecambe says the one we played before we went decimal, and I didn't realise how culturally relevant that question was. If I had, I would have then said, oh, that wasn't, the date couldn't have been 1973, it has to be 71, because, you know, Morecambe and Wise made a joke about it in 1971. But as it turns out, I didn't need to, because we already got there. Again, my aunt already knew. And they knew the 2002 one as well, which, you know, goes to show one would think. But yeah, there was this time in general, I guess the themes caught us a bit more by surprise. There's always general knowledge, there's usually music, and I think we got another sports one this time as well. In fact, on the dingbats, actually, there was one question where there was one dingbat where it was something along the lines of I don't remember what the first part was, and I got this one. Oh yeah, Rolex LBW. That was the clue in the box. My dad had already said watch, I think, because I didn't get to see this one first. But you know, they were going through a lightning speed, because it was still before the questions started. To clarify, we get the dingbats first. We get a little bit of time with them, and then after a while we get the questions, but we can still keep doing the dingbats, you know, while the quiz is in progress, because they take a long time to think about some of them. So my dad had already said watch. Then we were talking about, you know, like, you know, LBW or something. I was thinking like pounds or something, because I know that LB is a symbol for pounds and weight. Could it be like weight watching or something? But I checked, because the W threw me off. So I asked my mum, and, you know, I was like, what's LBW? And she said, it's a cricket term. By the way, the quiz takes place inside of a cricket club, so it's relevant to them. It's a cricket term. We've been talking about, like, it was like leg before wicket or something, which is, you know, one of the things that will make sure that someone is eliminated. So it's one way you can end up out. in cricket. After hearing that, I immediately said, "Watch out," and that's of course the answer. So there was a lot of that going around. I got the credit for that, but honestly, both my parents deserve credit for that too, because I just put together what they already did. The essence of creativity, remixing a bunch of stuff until it becomes your own. Yeah. The aspect that a lot of J.K. Rowling critics seem to completely ignore in terms of how creative works are actually constructed and how the human brain actually functions. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah. Oh, the example I was talking about. The other theme was transportation. Now, you can throw any question you want about the Madrid Metro to me. I'm most likely going to be able to know the answer. When it comes to anything that, the British public might actually know, usually I would be incredibly useless, which is not something I'm unaccustomed to in the quiz, because more often than not, I get like a couple of things, here and there that they just kind of throw in for any of the youngsters that are that have been brought along. This time, actually, they got their act together in terms of the music, because I remember one time they said, "Oh yes, this would be a modern this would be like a modern tune that you might recognize," said the host to me, and it turns out it was by AC/DC, who were who gained most of their popularity 20 years before I existed and walked this plane. But this time, they actually had one of the songs in there, because the theme was one, I think, because because it was, I guess, what, New Year, January 1st or whatever. That's not when the quiz took place, by the way, but I guess the theme was one. The song in question was "One Last Time" by Ariana Grande. We didn't even need the song title, it was just the artist. So that's one that I got, for example. But yeah. Incidentally, that song was, like the focus of the big number in the concert after the one that became known as the Manchester Attacks, actually, because that was an Ariana Grande concert as well, and she put on another one. I think that was the song where things had actually happened, or maybe, I'm not sure. It was certainly one of her most popular tracks at that time. So yeah, another reason to remember it, aside from just the fact that it's Ariana Grande and most people know her in general. Yeah, so yeah, I that's what I tend to do. I get things like that every now and then. But yeah, this time was more of a case of I was filling in blanks. I think I gave a prompt to my dad at one point, and he filled in a dingbat or something. It was very, very collaborative, even more so than usual, which just shows we're a well-oiled machine at this point. Even if one of the cogs occasionally goes missing, I say that I haven't missed the most quizzes out of everyone, because they continued while I was away in Spain. So another reason why, again, I'm grateful that I could be around, because I can, like I said, help contribute. The transportation question, the reason I brought that one up, I got lost, I got sidetracked. The transportation one, I didn't know any of them, I think, except one. The last question would have been complete gibberish to me, were it not for recent events in which I am involved. And until next week, when I talk about the end of the panto, I can't explain why. But just rest assured that what was I going to say? Rest assured that the question, who pulls the fastest milk cart in the West, was something that everyone seemed to react to. Again, me not being the demographic, like I said I was going to come back later. It's a reference to a Benny Hill song, which to this day remains the only Benny Hill sketch I've ever seen. I've been recommended not to check out his stuff by pretty much everyone that grew up with it. So I've not investigated further. But this particular one, I was told, yeah, do it. So yeah, I happen to know the answer to the question, and again, I'll clarify why I know the answer next week. But for now, that will remain a little bit of a mystery, much like the answer itself. Not that you can't look it up. You know, I guess there's one Benny Hill sketch I can recommend. You know, it's not too bad. It's you know, just a fun song sequence that was way more famous than I gave it credit for. So yeah, when I was first told about it, it's like, okay, is this something people might remember it, but it's just like a case of like, oh yes, you know, this will trigger like a core memory or something people haven't quite fully voted. No, it's very famous, so I don't know. So yeah, that was those were the highlights and what I remember from the quiz, aside from the ending. So I've mentioned before that there is one team that usually ends up winning, or honestly recently not as much. They've been defeated a couple of times by a few other teams in a few breakout moments, but most often they apparently had like they were down to 3 members at one point. Then they got that together, you know, got a few of their brain boxes involved, and became essentially an unstoppable force for most of 2024 and 2025. The times that we've won the quiz before, both of them they were absent for, I'm pretty sure. And another time when they were absent, it was a different group. So, when they were present, it was a different group. Sorry, that's what I meant. I actually met them last time, like the Christmas one. I actually felt like, oh, well, you're the people. Yeah, I need to talk to you at some point because you know your story is pretty fascinating. You know, aside from the competition thing, anyway. I suppose if you think about like their story, you know, it's almost like a whole like wrapped up movie where they redeemed themselves, only for, you know, Act 2, a rising challenger to present themselves in some sort of fashion soon after. And this time, they were there. They always say the scores are very close, and it's always true. We got through a few of them. One of the, I think 4th place went to the group of like the friend who recommended the quiz in the first place to us. So that was pretty nice to know. And I don't remember all of the other entries. I think the group that won one of those times came 3rd, or, you know, might have been, not sure. But we thought to ourselves, okay, this is a particularly tough one. You know, we've got a lot of stuff, but we're not going to beat any of the high scores. As it turns out, it came down to a difference of half a point. And it was us against the team that always wins. And I have to report, we won. Let's go! Hat trick time! I don't want to be too loud because I'm aware that it's getting late. I need to wrap this up. But yes, our 3rd victory, snatched from the jaws of the usual victors by half a point. And bear in mind, this is also factoring in we were missing a member, therefore we get an extra point due to their absence. I'm sure that if my cousin had been here, we would have done even better. Because there were a couple of ones where I was like, oh yeah, he would know this. There always are. So who's to say? It's unfortunate that every time that we've won, he happens to have been too busy at the time. It's become like a running gag. We're not saying that he's bad luck or anything, far from it. It's way more fun when everyone's there, especially because we can cover the sports section much more efficiently. You know, Watch Out was a fluke, let's say. So yeah, I guess we had enough of you know, my youthful contributions, enough of you know, giving each other hints, and you know, the right balance of you know, different knowledge of dates that have that are bygone times, and even far further bygone times on top of that. I guess that's the secret. So yeah, nice to talk about something that's you know, going well, let's say. Pantomime rehearsals, we've been doing tech stuff this week, have been a little bit of an uphill struggle. That's partly why we've overrun so much. But tonight is the dress rehearsal, so I guess, you know, it's time for me to head over there. We have like a quick bite because I brought something with me, and get dressed. So I guess we'll report on things later. I was going to say I'll see some of you there, but unfortunately they were unable to make it. My suggestion would have been to get the train to the nearest station and get an Uber from there, but I'm not sure if that's in the cards for them. So unfortunately, one of the things I'm looking forward to seems to not be able to come to pass. But everything else will. You know, I'll still get to have, you know, my return to the theatre, and it's still going to be recorded, I believe, on one of the days. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the recording, if they're going to make a DVD out of it just for us, or if it's going to be distributed on their page, which now I think about it, I have to check their page for such information. Yeah, guess we'll see. Gotta love recorded theatre, especially after Starkid. And I've heard about a lot of other shows that they've done as well, you know. They're definitely a bunch to stick with afterwards, provided that, you know, I'm able to work out, you know, location stuff now, and things don't conflict like they have this week, because, my goodness. But I can sort that out another time. There's stuff to do later on to celebrate having done said things, and life goes on. And so I'll talk about the reason I'm here next time. But for now, please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.